Okay, so I wanted to tell you my college experience story. It goes back to the mid 80s when I went to college. I was a smart kid in high school, and I did pretty well, and I don't remember any major difficulties. But I got into Stanford University, and I thought, great, sounds like a great place, looked like a fun place to hang out. So I went there with really poor study skills. I didn't know it at the time. So my first semester, I took advanced physics, I took an advanced math class, and about halfway through the semester, I realized that I was completely lost. I had never been there before. I was at a place where I didn't know how to go back far enough to get to the material that I actually knew, and so I started doing what a lot of people do. I started deferring getting to the work, and it got worse and worse through the semester to the point that I had to ask for some tutorial help, and I got to the place where I was not passing one of the courses. And this is a kid who got all A's all through high school. I don't remember getting a B. So my confidence plummeted. My expectancy at my school started to be in jeopardy. And at some point, I started kind of getting that resignment that this wasn't for me. So as all kids do, I made a great decision. I started playing loud rock music in my dorm room. And my neighbors next door were bothered by the music, but at that point I didn't really care who I pleased, so I went ahead and played my music as loud as I could. And they one day banged on the door and actually put sticks into my window to try to pry the window open so they could shut me up. Well, we had a big argument at that point, me and my unhappy college neighbors, and they told me not to do that anymore. They told me that I wasn't behaving very well in college, and I guess that was probably my lowest point, my most discouraged point in college. But the strange thing happened then, which is we tried to make amends because they were only 2 doors down. So they invited me down for pizza. I had pizza with them, and we found some connections, and we had a conversation, and I got to know my two neighbors. Turns out they were both smart guys, but they were also kind of nerds, and they had a habit of going to the library every single night. I argued for a couple weeks that I couldn't join them because that wasn't my way of studying. I like to study with music on. I like to be in social places. And so it didn't work. But one day I thought, I don't have many other friends here, so I'll follow them into the library. So I started adopting this routine of going to the library every evening. And at first it wasn't natural. I felt stifled. I felt like it was too quiet. It wasn't my environment. But a strange thing happened, which is I got work done. And I started actually making a little bit of inroads. The first semester, I got a C, a D, and 2 Bs. And that was a salvage of my semester. But the second semester, I followed them into the library from the get-go. And I started getting work done on a regular basis. And I started actually doing a phenomenal thing for me, which is I stayed ahead of my work. I actually looked at what they were going to discuss the next day in class. And things started to make sense because I'd already had a pre-exposure to the material. So my second semester at school, I got 2 Bs and 2 As. And then we became friends. They're my good friends today. I actually went and visited them this last summer, and they're lifelong friends, and that was almost 30 years ago. So my experience after that changed remarkably. I lived with them. They were my two roommates. They both got very successful. One's a millionaire, and the other one's a multimillionaire. I'm a physician, so I fall into neither category right now. But I started getting A's all the way through the rest of my college course at Stanford, which is hard because the kids there are pretty smart. And I did well. I got into med school at Stanford, and I went to med school there. So a strange thing happened on my failure course, which is I met people that had really good habits and were good people and supportive people. And I allied with them, and it really changed my future. So here I am, a doctor in Missoula, Montana. I'm not sure if that's the greatest success you could have, but I'm happy. I've got a family, a wife and a child, and I feel like I'm really grateful to have taken that turn in the road that I did in college. After my initial failure, I found a way to succeed. That's my story.